It's the most points we've ever seen in the first half of an NBA playoff game, and the 149 points are the most in a playoff game in Oklahoma City history. Welcome to Playoff Central Live, presented by AT&T. Udonis Haslam, George Niang, Chris Miles here with you. And for the Oklahoma City Thunder, in Game 1, they blew a double-digit fourth-quarter lead, and they came out in the first quarter. They were up 30-11. Denver scored the first bucket. OKC never trailed after that. 9 players in double figures, so open-ended for you guys. I mean, what was most impressive about this response for OKC?
Yeah, they let it be known.
Oh, my bad. Game over? Game over?
Time to wake up, you
My bad. Game over?
Yeah. No, they let it be known this game was not going to be decided in the fourth quarter. I think OKC came out from the jump and imposed their will, like a team coming off a first game loss would. And they just were dominating in all aspects, whether it was the defensive end, the offensive end. They dominated all categories tonight.
Yeah, they played hungry, and they played desperate. And you talked about when Shea did that interview, he talked about they had a sense of desperation. And that's something that you just can't make up. Yeah. They haven't had that all year. They've literally sat in that number one spot all season, and they haven't felt that desperation and that sense of urgency. So they came out, they played with a sense of urgency, and this is more what we thought OKC would be like. Of course, not winning by this many points, but playing on both ends of the basketball court the same way, offensively getting guys involved, and defenses pulling triggers, and guys being able to do what they do and use their gifts.
Again, nothing we've ever seen in NBA history, the most points the first half in a playoff game. And here's the thing, you think about that heartbreaking loss. Chet Holmgren missing those 2 free throws, comes back 15-11, 2 steals and 2 blocks. Safe to say that didn't stick with him.
And 7 for 7 from the free throw line tonight.
Yeah.
7 for 7. Yeah, that's what you got to do. You got to have a short memory. I remember coming into this league and losing a couple games, and I'm sitting back in my chair with my headphones on, to Eddie Jones, like, hey, young fella, we got another one tomorrow. Yeah. Like, you got to be ready to have a short memory and get ready to the next one. So he's a pro. I'm sure his guys kept him encouraged. And once again, the other guys got involved. The Cason Wallaces, the Wiggins, the Isaiah Joes, these other guys got involved. This is the OKC that we were hoping to see in the playoffs.
Yeah, when you're playing a team like OKC and they're clicking on all cylinders, I feel like they're almost impossible to beat, right? Game 1, OKC's bench was a little off, right? Isaiah Joe didn't make too many shots. Alex Caruso wasn't making as many shots. Now, like you said, Cason Wallace is making shots. Isaiah Joe is making shots. It's almost like an avalanche of points, and that's why you see them almost put up 150 points. That was remarkable.
And it's easy to focus on the offense and say, man, 9 different players, double figures, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, his normal 34. But a big part of that was defending Nikola Jokic. After his historic 40, 22, 6-assist game, he was 2 for 7 out of the start. Just 4 points, fouled out with 17, 8, and 6. And for the Joker, like, that's something he might put up in a second quarter to hold him to that. That felt really special for OKC to be able to do that.
Yeah, and I think it was the 3 bigs matchup, and we got to get a shout-out to Jalen Williams tonight, who's the guy who played 2 minutes in Game 1 and came out and played 12 minutes a night. And it's not about the time that he had on the court. It was about the physicality. He got a busted nose. He got hit in the eye. He brought the rugged physicality, sense of desperation. I'm going to make every play. I'm going to dive on loose balls. I'm going to make sure I set the tone for us in aggressive areas.
And I think the biggest thing here is that, the offense runs through Nikola Jokic, right? So they made everything tough for him. They made it so tough that this MVP candidate had 6 turnovers. Not that it mattered in this game, but I think it proves to the Oklahoma City defense that if we frustrate this guy, if we're overly physical, we can gain extra possessions throughout the game by making him turn the ball over, because if he's not turning the ball over, he's normally kicking it out to someone for a layup or a 3.
Yeah. And I look at, the shooting aspect of it, and I go, man, a guy like Isaiah Joe to play 17 minutes, score 14 points, 5 for 5 in the field, and he's one of your former teammates. The fact that they just kind of have him on the roster in a night like this is like, okay, that's another knockout punch.
Yeah. I mean, when you have a guy
switch, he got to switch.
Yeah, and a guy that can go out there and make shots in that small amount of time, that's demoralizing for another team, especially for a team that's, thirsty to score points. And tonight, Denver struggled doing that. But UD, like you talked about, with Eddie Jones, I mean, you got to have amnesia in this thing, right?
Yes.
Flush it, move on. It's one game. You're going back home. You did your job. You got one game here. You still have home court advantage.
Yeah, 50 or 50 or 1. It doesn't matter. It's just one game.
Well, I tell you something that's more than one game. Watching SGA get his, But the difference is in this one, you ready for he missed 2 shots.
Wow,
11 for 11 from the free throw
insane.
line, 11 for 13 from the field to get his 34. You know, the analytics guys, you know, the field guys, the guys that are like, okay, the eye test, he passed both of those in this one.
Listen, I never forget walking into Game 7 on the road in Boston, and our bus gets there about an hour before the game. And LeBron had that look in his eye. And you know in the locker room, when your best player has that look, all you have to do is fall in line. I guarantee Shea walked in the locker room with that look in his eye, and his guys knew all they had to do was fall in line tonight, be in the right spots, play the game the right way. He's going to lead us, and all we just got to do is follow.
Yeah, whatever he said, he certainly followed it by doing. 11 for 13. He was just remarkable. You see him here just finding his spots, getting other guys involved, and like we talked about, Isaiah Joe. When you have threats like that, it's really tough to stop the Thunder.
Yeah, Thunder turning defense into offense. You see SGA. I mean, whenever we look at their stats, you got to go 12 steals, 8 blocks in this one. They had 23 stocks in game 1. No matter what, they're going to do those 2 things.
Yes, the defense was swarming, especially tonight. And what you see is Joku operated in a crowd every single time he had the basketball. They did their work early. As soon as he crossed half court, he got to that three-point line. One of those 3 bigs were putting a body on him. We're going to shrink their elbows. We're going to make everything difficult for you, and somebody else is going to have to beat us.
Yeah, it was actually remarkable. You know, they switched up defense quite often. They played the double big lineup. But I think what's really unique to see is that Shea kind of was roaming around off whatever non-shooter that he was guarding to kind of cause a ruckus around Jokic. I thought that was pretty unique by the Oklahoma City Thunder. Obviously, that was their game plan adjustment, and Chris, UD, it worked.
Yeah.
We hear about adjustments. Now it's time for the Denver Nuggets to make some adjustments. Here's their interim head coach, David Adam.
David, after a blowout loss to the Clippers, you stressed it's one game. It counts as one. There's a chance to respond. I assume the message, the thinking is similar?
Yeah, but we got punked, and we didn't play well enough, and they came out with the right intensity, and we didn't. I thought we let some open shots early in the game affect us how we played defensively. And, you know, this is a team that does that. I mean, there's a reason why they have historic plus-minus numbers throughout this season is they put people away. So you got to have a much better start than that. We can't come out like that kind of mentality. You know, I'm not sitting here tonight talking about the 1-1 thing. Not tonight. We're not going to flush that. We've got to be better. We know that. That being said, it's nice to know that you got a win underneath your belt, but that's not what this is right now in the present. So we'll react the right way, like we did, you know, in Game 3 in LA. Bring a different intensity, look at what they did differently, react accordingly, and I would expect a much better effort from our guys on Friday night in Denver.
What was the most concerning part about the way you lost?
Physicality. I mean, bottom line, I thought they towed the line. I thought the game was reffed very physical. I thought we joined the party late. When you join the party late, the refs look at you as reactionary. The whistle doesn't go your way. So you can't be reactionary in these playoff games. You have to do it from the tip, from the start. We know that. I could tell in that room. The eyes looking back at me know that. That's the reality of what just happened. So we'll go back. Obviously, it's a really tough series and a really good team, but